This is your daily market recap for Thursday, May 19th, 2022. Let's do this. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for Thursday, May 19th. 2022. Let's get into it. Again, I'd like to start off in the Discord room. If you have any questions or anything referencing to this video that you want to get answered, please stop by the Discord room. Link is in the description below. Again, let's start off what we usually do in here. We just hang out and talk all day and analyze trades and talk about a lot of the mindset of what's going on in people's heads and how to trade. You know, a lot of people, I mean, I see this all the time. They literally have one thing they need to correct to become a better trader. It's not like they don't know how to win. It's just that they don't know how to usually lose well. And that's part of trading. Ultimately, your losses will define how your account holds up, because when you're winning, there's no problems. It's the losing that is got to be managed and understood. So that's the specialty here. That's the goal. Again, everyone's different. Everyone trades a little differently, but a lot of people just lose more than they win. And ultimately, that's just, it's psychological. It really is. People don't understand that, but it's like the casino. They go to the casino and think they're going to win, and it's psychological. They're addicted to losing, actually. They don't even realize it. Anyway, if you have any questions, please stop by. Link is in the description below. I appreciate everybody who has been supporting the channel, and let's just get into it. Bitcoin. What have we said for, man, feels like forever. We said this is a double top. We ran into the volume at price zone, failed. We're back at the, you know, we held this like downtrend. Now we're chopping, and what I'm worried is for Bitcoin holders, it's going to be this, and it's not this. It doesn't look like it's rocketing. I mean, you got the volume, but you don't have the action. What has me really worried about Bitcoin is this a left shoulder. Let me draw it for you. Oh, this, Jesus. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of TradingView. It can be a little bit of a struggle. I've been using it off and on for a while, just when I needed to in the past, and don't use it anymore. If you notice, I use eSignal forever, and that's what I've always stuck to. But I've always liked the basics of TradingView for people who need to see basic charts. I think it's the best place for free charts. So here you go. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Because if it does resolve, it's going to get uglier. So I just hope that helps. People, please be safe. If you have any questions, again, stop by the Discord room. I'm not a big digital coin fan of the long term, because I don't know who's going to ultimately win. It is a very crowded space with a lot of names, and I don't know who the winner is. So at this point, if your cost basis is lower and you can withstand the pain, great. If you've been jumping into crypto in the last year or so, just be careful. Just be careful. Man, this cat is so excited to be recording this video. TLT. Let's get into it. Now, this morning, we talked about it. I mean, constantly. People were looking at some buys, and what did I say? I said, please don't. Please don't chase this gap up. It's OPEX. It's an extreme, probably going down. Well, I was right about that. And again, I hate to be right, even though I didn't have the money on it. I think we are going to hold this level of 112. But notice it took 2 months to bottom. Notice sometimes the bottom takes months. 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 Okay. I think I said it 7 times. So, do we believe in V-bottoms now? No. Probably going to see another low in June. I mean, I almost can guarantee it, because it's just the past. It repeats. TLT, again, set your alarms for like 114 or lower. Dollar. This is an interesting action during options expiration, because we talk about options expiration being a really choppy, sloppy time where you have to trade the extremes. You have to be very familiar with just ultimately, I would call it the extremes, but it's literally just a lot of shaking out. I call it ChopX, because that's what it literally does. It puts people in a position to get chopped out, and people who are impatient, they really get hurt during this time, and this, you know, just during options expiration, especially when the VIX is meant to be terminated, but the action really isn't super bullish. That's what's so difficult here, because again, we'll talk about the VIX here shortly. And again, options expiration, it's a pain. So if you're trading the dollar, I mean, look at this action. We talked about, like, this looked weird, then it went higher. You had like a novice gap. Now you pull back, and you're back at, you know, you're holding this, like, this gap area. I've said this for a long time. I think it's bullish But, you know, if you're going to be bullish, it needs to sustain highs, because what you want it to do is to hold the highs, and at worst, it could break out. See, here's a double top where you got the retest and then, you know, fail. Well, now you're making higher highs. It needs to hold up. Holding up is the key for the dollar. At this point, I think people will be going into the dollar because there's a lot of stuff going on in the world where I wouldn't want to hold euros or you name the currency. I wouldn't want to hold it. Seems like the only thing stable right now is the ruble, which is, you know, the Russian ruble, which is rather ironic, is it not? Everyone said the ruble was going to crash. It did for about a minute. The VIX, what have we said? You know, the market can't bottom, in my opinion, until this thing blows out. I've gone into the past, and I'll show you. I guess I'll show you again. Keep in mind, there wasn't a VIX in the 2000s when tech topped. So keep that in mind. So you have to use something that's not tied to the VIX. It was a SPY. But notice how we held up at higher volatility for a long time. And even in 2000, you had these spikes into which seemed, I mean, 33. Again, I really think the SPY is going to have more pain than that. Because why? I mean, the liquidity. I mean, all the liquidity pumped into the markets. Notice how we're just like higher lows. Pretend this is an uptrend. This is a sloppy uptrend. And I don't think it resolves now. Will we get a COVID blow off of 84? I don't think so. I'm just looking for something in the 40s. That would be my near-term bottom, and it probably plays out at some point. Now, what do we talk about? VIX termination during OPEX. Notice what happened. First 2 days down, next 2 days up, higher, like extreme, and backing up. What does that tell me? At this point, it just tells me I don't think the SPY is going to blow out. People who think the market's going to peak and blow out, I don't think so. Is this a double bottom? And you get so many people excited about options expiration action, and like I don't know how to explain to people. Like, don't trust it. It's like leaving a bunch of cookies out for a child. Like, you just know something. You know, you can't trust them not to do it. And that's the same thing here in the SPY. I've said the bigger long-term case was what? It's clearly a head and shoulders top. Left head, right shoulder, left shoulder. It's going lower, in my opinion, but that doesn't mean we can't chop out first, because what do we said? This chop action leads to lower lows. Like, you got to draw in bulls to bring it lower. Like, if you're a bear, the straight line move is the end. If you really want to see really big extremes, you need to bring in more bulls, and that's what we're doing. We're bringing in more bulls. You know, name the sector, name the commodity, whatever. People are finding safe haven in the market in certain pockets, and I'm telling you, like, that all has to blow out. Like, as much as we like metals, materials, uranium, whatever you want to call it for long term, just not ready. Just not. QQQ. Here we go. Same thing. Q's. I've said this a bazillion times. If anyone's paying attention, you have not closed below the 20-month continuously. With, you know, simultaneously, like the month previous, you always bounced, or not previous, following, you bounced. Notice here, you broke below it, you bounced like normal, and then boom. Now we're back at the old upper channel. And what is it? It's just chopping again. I mean, the mind wants the instant reward. The market doesn't instantly reward you. It rewards people who are patient. That's what I try to explain to people. Like, if you ever read Jessie Livermore, and some people are like, oh, well, he blew up his accounts. And it's like, everyone blew up them accounts, but he was like the first to really identify the honestly best way to trade. And one of the things he talks about over and over and over again, what made him rich, it wasn't the day trading of the markets. It was identifying a trend and letting it play out. And we've been bearish for a while. If you started paying attention, December, we really started thinking tech was done. Well, look what's happened since December. That doji. What happened after that doji? Left-right combo. Look what happened. Chop, 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 drop. Now, if you're familiar with the Qs, this is where I tell people you gotta be knowing, you just gotta know your past. You have to know your past. And I say it over and over again in the videos, and I want it to be clear to people, because again, this recap is meant for you, not for me. I know this stuff. Look what happened. He had a 50% retracement, like 120 down to 60s. Then it bounced, then the end. Okay? Like, that's what we have to expect. That's, you know, why would we assume anything differently? Now, again, look at the 2007, 2008. Blow off, chop, lower high, boom. Well, what do you think, Dan? Well, I think you had, you know, it's really hard to define what do you think is going to happen in the near term, but look at these candles. And this is the problem. Like, this is such a steep ascension. Like, it's going to get wide. It's going to get loose. It's going to get crazy. So How do you want to trade it? Again, as I recommend, and we recommend it all day on the board, short tech on pops. Know your levels. The IWM. Somebody was saying today the IWM has been on fire, and it's like maybe some of the small cap names, but the individuals, but the actual IWM, not really. We're not surprised it bounced. We talked about holding 2008 highs, 18 highs, and then the COVID highs. This is not bullish, guys. Look, what do I always say? When you have a nice smooth channel, I guess it's not, that didn't get there high. Either way, when you break out of the channel on the upside, it's usually the top. Like you have the smooth move and then boom, that's the the end of it. Now what? Now you're back into the channel. Like we probably should go to the channel lows. And if we really want to get a strong bounce, what's more likely? You probably need a blowout. And when I say blowout, you need a blowout. Like this is way too orderly and just way too easy. I think of the IWM, yeah, peak started in 2001. Like you gotta love all these ETFs come out and then just bam. I always tell people that by the time something high demand ETF comes out in a sector that's been on fire, it's usually the end, not the beginning. So what now with small caps? Again, I don't think they're bullish, but it doesn't mean it has to go down every day. Gold, put on a short today. Oh my God. The first bounce, how many times has gold just penalized everybody for being early? I mean, I literally could show you a bazillion times. Bottom retest, bottom retest. Blowout pop, lower lows. I mean, just look at all the eventual lows. If you have some major low, double bottom, retest. So, again, I'm trying to be really nice to folks who are gold bulls because I am a gold bull long term. Don't get it twisted. Talked about the free money retest. That was a great trade. If you think gold's bottom, you're seeing the market wrong. And this is what I'm going to tell you. Gold loves to destroy the sentiment before it rises. And what does that mean? It means like the average person who's gold bullish and following all these people on Twitter and getting behind the whole cheerleading on a team kind of mentality, that team has to be blown up. The market makers know they have you guys right where they want you because you didn't sell the highs. And now you're watching your gains slip through your hands like trying to grasp sand on the beach. And so what ultimately happens is that first bottom isn't the bottom. It's going to be a retest later. Now, how much higher can we go? I don't really see that much because, again, let's be honest. They throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, that's how it is. Like, the baby is gold. Baby is uranium. Gold is, or it's silver. It's all these great commodities long-term in a commodity bull market that have to be thrown away by the market. And then you go higher. Now, again, it makes no sense. And I've said this over and over and over. Go look at the gold chart. Who says that this handle can't play out for a year or two? That would be honestly one of the best ways to guarantee the big monster move. Like, let the market maker shake everyone out and accumulate as much gold as they want up here. Because again, they bought a ton down here. They probably are distributing and they're playing this game of distribute, reload, distribute, reload. And then once everybody's like, gold's broken, Bitcoin's the leader forever. I mean, I don't know. You create the narrative that you think they might talk about. That's when gold starts going. And so at this point, I don't think it would be out of, and again, what have I said? I think down here, I thought 170 would hold. It went a little lower, it bounced. Obviously, back testing of the trend lines. Like, again, I'm not sitting here going, you got to short gold. I'm just saying, watch. I shorted gold today because I watched the action in the special. I watched the options action today, and it clearly showed the specialists puts were being unwound, and the specialists, in my opinion, are going to now want to drop it to make money on the puts that everyone puked up. Because again, they puked up all their calls on the pop or on the drop, and now they're going to play the game where it'll go right back, in my opinion. We'll see what happens. Just please, for the love of God, be aware that your beliefs, what you put into your brain, who you follow, is ultimately what you do. And what I mean by that is if you follow rah-rah, cheerleading, bullish folks who have been bullish since the highs and can't admit that they're wrong, and they say just keep buying, keep feeding the beast, keep feeding keep feeding the slot machine, that's wrong. If you see me on here saying hold, what's going to happen? I'm going to probably puke at the lows. That's what they're waiting for. And maybe it's just a double bottom. But I would be willing to bet the backside of this trend line is not going to hold. It's just not going to hold because, again, when the market gets smacked around, gold ain't going to hold up because margin calls, CME is going to raise requirements. The Feds, the Feds love to smash gold. Gosh, they love it. Silver. Hey, look at this action. Oversold. Not surprised. It bounced. Look at the bigger picture. What have I said? The best moves are always the bull or the bear traps. Chop, chop, chop. Range lows. Boom. Smash. I mean, this thing went from 13 down to like 10. That is not enough. So that's where I'm drawing the circle. Again, I think in time you can chop and go higher, but it's just not now. Same thing with GDX. I mean, it's people are like, you're just bearish because I don't even know why. We sold at the highs. No, I'm bearish because the past repeats. Again, seasonality sucks. Do you want to get caught in this kind of action, or do you want to short and trade and do whatever you need to do in other names that are going to move? I like GDX long term. I literally have the zones pointed out for you. I ain't chasing it. I'm just not. I have no desire. Seasonality sucks. The market sucks because I've seen what happens to GDX multiple times in multiple decades. It feels like COVID. Oh my God, you got to buy gold. COVID, got to buy gold. The miners literally went from what 31 down to, was it 16? Then we buy. We don't buy it in this area, especially when everyone's cheerleading it. It just seems obvious. But people don't study the past. They think this is like a capitulation move. No, this is just a big chop range at this point. You drop, you pop. You drop, you pop. I wouldn't be early on these names because you'll be stuck in a place that you just don't want to be, and that's called nowhere. You're not going to make really any money. The stuff gets super tight. Same thing with GDXJ. We're going to run through them all real quick. AG, love this name. Just wait, let it come in. We talked about selling up here. Boom, look at that. Now it's due to bounce. How high? I don't know. Just leave it alone. AM, how high is it going to bounce? I don't know, but I'm leaving it alone. I like it down in the 40s. NFGC, I told you guys this thing would get bought out at some point. Guess what? I actually sold some shares. I sold all my shares. I made cookies on it because I don't believe in V-bottoms. I've seen this. Again, this was a big move down. Keep in mind, look at this thing. Of course, it was more of a V. But then look what happened. You retested. Do I, for a minute, think we're not going to retest the lows? Clearly, you know the answer to that. PAAS, same thing. Hey, oversold. Nice. I mean, again, we're identifying the levels that matter. What I'd like to see is bear traps, meaning people really press the shorts after you break the range lows, and the market maker shakes out all the volume, and then they take it right back up. Letter X said this for, I don't know, like 2 weeks. Just leave it alone. We loved it up here. We sold it at the 200 month. You're welcome. And now what? You're right back down here. I don't care what you think. I'm trying to do what the market's doing. And if you look. It's not like we got out and look what happened. Boom. I love it. And again, I want to see it get crushed more. VALE, same thing. These names probably have tons of upside long term because if you studied the past, what did they do in commodity bull markets? They go from nothing to something. That's what's going to happen here again. But what did I say? It's probably going to come back down to the channel low. Where does that leave you, Dan? Wait. You can see the lower prices. Wait for the market to puke. TCJ, I'm literally like just amazed how uranium people have become the new, I don't know, the newest suckers. I mean, I know the fundamentals are great, guys. But what did we say up at the highs? Sell, sell, sell. Why? Well, go check out the monthly. Pretty simple. Resistance, fib, resistance. See that? Resistance, support or whatever. Broke above it, fail. Broke above it, and then ultimately it got worse. Then you couldn't get back there. So the first test is obviously what? It's going to back off. Well, Dan, long-term uranium, this and uranium. Hey, I don't give a shit about your thesis because, again, I've seen fundamentals in the stock movement not be our, they don't have to be correlate. I mean, how irrational is Tesla move up? Did that make sense? No. So the market is an irrational machine. You're trying to rationalize irrationality. No, just do what the market's going to do. It doesn't look bullish, y'all. And what did we say up at the 200-day? I said very nicely to my Iranian friends, you probably need to sell. Did they sell? No, hell no. They're going to hold it and watch it drop. Mosaic. We bought this for a bounce. I think we made what was that? Like 6 points or something like that. Bounce at the 50-day, said, don't chase it. You bet. No. Look what happened, pulling back. Again, this is a bear market tendency. Double, triple, head and shoulders top now. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Let's bring in the videotape. Here you go. What does that mean? It's probably going lower. Love these names long term. Absolutely love them. Absolutely splendifically love them. AMD. All right, if you're following on the message board, you probably shorted this today. You're welcome. We said watch the 50-day, watch this box. Look at the blowout, outside reversal. If you don't know what an outside reversal is, it's when you make a higher high and close below the day's low and lower. I guess that is kind of redundant. You break out and then you close below the previous day. Well, look what happened. You got another bounce, literally to the 50-day. I mean, look at that. Fail. Now what? You know the drill. It's going lower. So, congratulations. I applaud you for taking the trade. Keep in mind, I've got plenty. I am shorting the hell out of oil right now. We got it up here. Started selling naked calls, and then we sold up here on the retest. Tried to get to the trend line. I'm so glad I didn't play around. Burn. AMD bulls, you don't know your history because the stock has many a times where it's peaked and then gotten burned. And when I mean burned is you don't understand how semiconductors work. In a semiconductor bull market, all is great. After they peak, all chips are equivalent. What does that mean, Dan? All chips are equivalent. Meaning everything becomes like a commodity. All the chips are great. Now they start cutting margins based on because they have to cut prices because of competition. And so when a market corrects in tech, the buyers now have the pricing power, not the sellers. And so what happens to the chips? They get absolutely smoked because they're all producing amazing chips, the future. But guess what? Now their margins are getting cut because they have to compete. It wasn't like in the past where last couple, I'd say years, that you had conditions that were bullish chips. Now everybody's got making great chips. So AMD, great company. Don't hold it forever. Watch what happens. Apple shorted this. I'll show you exactly where. We shorted up in here. We kind of got caught for a little bit. But again, if you know me, you know that I don't worry if I think I'm right. Because what I noticed is this looks like a bull bear market rally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days up. Took time, and now what? Breaking the channel lows. I've still, again, we said if you couldn't break 150, fail. I mean, we literally identified this on Tuesday. Look what's happened. Look at the bigger term charts. What do you notice? Smooth up channel. Holy bonanza, breaking the 20-month. Keep in mind, this thing went on a monster, absolute tear. Well, what about the dividend? What about the buyback? Well, what about the broken technical action? That's what you need to pay attention to. Your fundamental theses are as great as you want to believe they are, but there's names that are fundamentally acting incorrectly, and there's fundamentals that ultimately don't really matter. It's not like Apple's getting bought out, so how great their fundamentals are don't matter. Facebook, another company that will not get bought out no matter how great their fundamentals. Lower lows, lower highs. It's probably going to break down. You're welcome. It's really that simple. Roblox. We've talked about this as a buyout target in the 20s because we said, look at the volume. Hey, it's holding the 20-day. Watch the 50-day. I think someone needs to buy them because they have something of value. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it can't get murdered like the rest of the market, but same thing. Tesla. Here you go. Smooth sailing. Let's pretend like you didn't know the past. Who was the guy calling the tops up here? This guy. Smooth channel, parabolic blow off. That's the top. Zoom to now and look at this sloppy, choppy bullshit action. Again, I like Elon. I think they have an okay product, but I don't care about the fundamentals because once I see this be done, please pay attention to the previous losers, Lemonade, Peloton, Zoom, Carvana, whatever. Just change the ticker name. That pattern doesn't end well. Just warning you, because actually here's an example of that pattern not ending well. EXPI. This company is printing money. I work for them. I know how well they're doing. Look at this. Now what? Down here, let's see if there's some value. I own it for the long term. Got to get over the 20-day. UTHR, I've said this, I don't know, maybe a dozen times a week. This is a buyout target. It's holding up really well. What does that mean near term? Well, it's caught in the market action. But notice what? It's making higher lows as the market's making lower highs. Somebody has the capacity to what? stop the down. Step out of your technical mindset for a second. Just look at this chart. If the XBI and market are all getting creamed and this is holding up, what is it telling you? Telling you it's strong. All right, let's end it on our short thesis. USO. Price gouging coming out from the price gouging legislation. Whatever. You know what ultimately this is going to lead to is people screaming, produce more, you freaking morons. Again, what did we say? Backside of this trend line. Extremes during OPEX. Oh, it held a 20-day and bounced. Well, everybody, if you didn't get the highs, you can't really ride through this, can you? I didn't even get the highs, but you know what? I can ride through it because I'm pretty familiar with how this works. What do we say? Gap and trap. 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 At some point, I've said this a bazillion times. Look at this monthly. Unlimited volume at the lows because oil was negative. People were freaking out. When I say oil was negative, the futures were. People said, what? The end of oil. Oil is done. Well, now what are people saying? Yet the price has just gone nowhere for, I don't know, almost 3 months. 2 months. 2 months. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever. 2.5 months. What is the consensus out there? Think. What is it? Oil can't go lower. Well, if there's about to be there is demand destruction. Let's look at it. Look at all the retailers the last week and talking about how they literally can't find people to buy their products. How do you think that's going to play out for oil demand? You think oil demand's really sticking around? You think people are loving this $4 gasoline? Shit, $6, $5, depending on where you're at. No, tendencies change. Oil is always the last thing. It's just, if you're newer to trading, let's step back in the time machine with Dan real quick. One of his best shorts ever. Shorting oil up here. Now again, this was like $1.50 a barrel. Keep in mind this has a decaying mechanism. That's why I do own some puts on it as well. Shorting it. Look, it just was the last thing. The markets were like, oh, everything's great, everything's fine. Oil's holding up. No, oil literally put the end to the bull market. Now, this USO fund has just been absolute poop. I'm sorry I don't have the USO oil features on this computer. But look, this action is just wee. Now, again, you might be in a longer-term bull market. I don't know. But I do know what's coming next, and it's not going to be pretty for the oil bulls. How far back? How far we have to pull back? I've said this a bazillion times. I think the fair value price is somewhere under 90. If the economy really is going into the shitter, how low do you think it could go? Because if it can go to negative during COVID, how low can it go during this time frame of possible recession? $30, $40, $50? I don't know. I just know this will go lower. So that's the most obvious trade to me. ExxonMobil. I've said this a bazillion times with ExxonMobil. It's chopping here at the highs. Just got to be patient. Look at the chart. Zoom out. Again, people never stare at the monthly as hard as they do the 10-minute and the hourly and the daily. You're coming into major resistance. The volume at price zone. Anybody who bought this in that time frame and then got wiped out is probably doing what? Getting back to even, taking their money and saying, you know what, we'll come back later. This isn't easy. I've said a bazillion times, study the past. Some tops are choppy, some are easy. This is a choppy toppy. And so what do I always say? Please don't chase. Please don't chase. Because if you don't chase, you can ride through this action or you can trade it. Say you sold some and then you're like, I love 91 plus. Now you reshort it. Let's end it on XOP because this is fundamental stuff that most people can't handle. I've said this a bazillion times. Choppy at the lows. I guess that wasn't really that choppy down there. Choppy at the highs. Wasn't really that choppy up there. Choppy at these highs. What are the odds it's going to be choppy at the highs? Well, clearly it has been. We've been trading it. Look what happened. It hit the channel. Oh, it bounced today. It's amazing. Just that one color of green changes your bearish thesis to bullish, and you puke up your shares and you just give up on your shorts or whatever. Or you got you're restricted on your puts and you bought way too many, or you bought at, out of the money and you're just floundering. Let it play out. Like, this leads to price destruction. Again, look at the monthly. We've said this a bazillion times. 100 month, 0.382, IPO price, volume at price area. Doji last month. How does this end? If I had to guess, a doji at the high, I mean, at worst, you're pulling back a little bit. If you're lucky, it's like this, and then boom. It's like this, boom. Let's see if you had any dojis. I guess you had a little higher, boom. Not a ton of them, but dojis at the bottom, though. I mean, again, that's the signal. Just wait, have stops, set your alerts, be smart. Trust me, we talked about free shares of drip under 20. Well, maybe 21's the free shares because look what happened. You went back. I always say this. High volume highs, high volume lows, love to retest. Look at this candle, high volume high. Just can't get over it. It's like muscle memory. Just never forget that. I mean, TraderFlorida.net, that was one of the people that really cemented that high volume highs and high volume lows love to retest. He talked about that endlessly in markets, and I'm trying to find another high volume area or a candle. Nah, that's not really one. It's usually at bottom. You want to look for extremes. See, that was a pro gap off. Whatever. Well, that's another thing we'll do. Come by the Discord room. We'll get into it because you can see those candles sometimes in the charts and the way that they line up. It just literally acts like tractor beam where those levels touch, they fail. Touch, they fail. Okay, here you go. High volume highs and high volume lows on high volume candles loves to retest. Here you go. Look at this volume here. Look at this action. This price has hit 1, 2, 3, 4 times and potentially failed. There it is. That might be the missing key of your trading. Patience, waiting for the retest. I don't know. Be safe. Again, we're short everything. Basically, we're late. We're not as deep in the tech short as we have been. We got short at the highs. We're definitely short gold a little bit and short oil heavily short. Again, if we're wrong, we stop out if we need to. However, I think it's the easiest trade out there. If you have any questions, again, stop by the Discord room. If you've gotten this far, please slap a like, drop a comment. I really appreciate everybody supporting the channel. I like to do this for, I wouldn't say as a charity, but again, people help me and have given me chances along the way to like really step my game up. And again, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.